So I can tell that you've had a lot of, positive influence from some really effective instructors, and you've been a lot of places too. Like you went to the Range Master Tactical Conference. You've been to California. You've helped out with a lot of classes here at Top Gun under some really high level instructors. Um, you've been to USPSA Nationals. Like, can you tell me a little bit about some of the people that you've learned from?
Yeah, I can name drop. I mind.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't know like, if people care about that or not. For me, like directly, like as far as on the instructor side, a lot of my like Akil and Tiff, um, the way that they can articulate things and the way that he can make something the most boring thing in the world actually fun. That was important because when you're having a good time, one, it goes by faster, but two, you actually do learn, because you're engaged at that point. So their teaching style and just listening to them, how they just say certain things. There's one specific thing I do now with from the NRA and the NRA instructor class I took with them. There's one specific thing how I manipulate a handgun when I'm teaching a class that I got from that. And I haven't changed it ever since. I never will. It's weird. I'll show it to you sometime in person, but it's just the way that I will manipulate guns so it never anybody can ever mistake thinking that I pointed a gun at them. Like not even close. There's just no way. Or at myself or anything unsafe, right? So that's one little thing I picked up and it'll stick with me forever. Gabe White. I like I like listening to Gabe White. Um, I purposely would attack on, even though I wasn't assigned to him one year to be an RSO. I asked to kill, and I went out there. I wanted to watch it again. I took his class already, but I wanted to watch and listen to it again because I wanted to see how he delivers. I liked his delivery. He's high energy. I'm not high energy like him, but he's high energy. And I just want to see how he engages with people. That's extremely important. It's relationships is what it is. It's build rapport. Because if you can't build rapport with people, they won't relate. And typically, people that don't relate to each other, they don't learn from each other, right? And that's just the world we live in. We like to be around things that are similar to ourselves, and being able to build rapport gives you similarities to one another or to other people, and it makes them want to be engaging to you more, or they want to engage with you more because they're like, oh yeah, he's a lot like me because he does this, or I do a lot of different stuff. I cycle, you know um I like to play musical instruments. I play video games, so it gives me a lot of stuff I do that other people may do as well, and we can just talk about it. It doesn't mean I'm not doing Tour de France, you know. But I know I have bikes and cycle, and I enjoy it, and so I can have something to have in common with them, and that's really helpful. Especially, it's called life experiences. I think, in my opinion, just be willing to be vulnerable and share some of your life experiences, so people can relate to you. That's really important because you can have all the knowledge in the world, and if like I just don't jive with you or get a good vibe from you, I really don't care what you have to say. All in all, you know, I just don't. Tom Givens is one of the best lecturers I've ever sat in my life, just to listening to him because you can hear his passion, and that's important. And it makes you really kind of sit on the edge of your seat, like want to know more. I want to know more. I want to listen to more. Uh, you know, Will over at Top Gun. Like I said, he's an excellent lecturer as well. He has more of a quirky way of doing things, and it keeps people engaged. So you kind of like pick and grab these things from different instructors that you like, and then you look at yourself. Look yourself in the mirror and go, "Well, I'm gonna still do it my way because I'm me. I'm Ty, but I like the way that Will delivered it, or Tom delivered it, or Miko's delivered it. There's little things like that, and you start kind of it's kind of weird. It's almost like you evolve, is what it is. And I had one of the best compliments I've ever had from one of my students. So when I first started doing private lessons, it's the Hendersons. Um, Super sweet people. I love them to death. Um, they 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 came back to me about a year and a half later because their COVID hit. They didn't want to gather older people, which I understand. They didn't want to get out and be exposed, possibly. That's a no go. And they came back and said, "Well, we haven't had one in a while. I just want to do a full on like from the start lesson, like start over." I said, "Great, well, I can do that for you." After we finished and everything, they said that my delivery has gotten so much better, and the way that I present it has gotten that much better. And I was like, I don't really think about it because we make small changes over X amount of time, and it means a lot to me from them because they mean a lot to me as my students and stuff, and my friends as well. That I want them to get a good experience, and I want them to learn something. That's one of the most important things to me. I don't care if they tell anybody about who I am. That's not a big deal to me. I want them to take away learning something that's going to help better them. Um, and for them to say that to me, and it was really nice, honestly. Like, it felt really good. To give you an idea, like, one of the guys, or the dean is the husband. He was a teacher for 30 years, and he gave me really nice compliments about that. And I was like, well, I mean, I really appreciate that. Um, it's just, um, teaching's teaching in general, I guess. And I felt really good about that because I have evolved. You've evolved as an instructor too, because if you probably go back to when you started doing teaching and stuff, your knowledge pool was probably a lot more shallow than it is now. So now you have so much more knowledge to give, and we just got to now figure out how can I deliver this to somebody that is digestible and is rememberable, so they can sit there and recall it down the road. You know, I think it's really important for that. Is can I make it uh, digestible for them to be able to understand it and then be able to recall it down the road. You know, um, I could say here lately I haven't been able to do I don't do as many private lessons as I used to. I was doing like 15 to 20 a week at one point. I mean, it was like full, and then I'd help with classes at night. I mean, it was a full gambit. I mean, it was taxing a little bit. Um, but like I said, I got a lot of opportunities to see like Jim Darnell, John Parker, Bob Stewart's, watch how they teach, instruct, and coach, and that was invaluable. Like, a lot of times I see and I see a lot of newer instructors, and it's okay. It's not a big deal because I know they're just chomping at the bit to want to help. But sometimes it's good to sit back and just watch and just listen. Don't say anything. Just listen because we can observe a lot more. We can see a lot more. And then you start noticing a lot more, and then in return you can deliver that back to somebody else. But if you're in the mix, it's sometimes hard to get that 3,000-foot view. You're right there in the thick of it. It's hard to see that, and I think that's something sometimes good to do, even to just sit back and watch. Like, the classes that I enjoy taking right now are beginner classes. If I'm gonna take a class right now, I want to go take a class from somebody that's teaching new shooters how to shoot. Not because I don't know how to teach somebody how to shoot a gun. I want to see how somebody delivers it, because they may say something one way that I don't, but I may need it down the road for somebody else, right? It's like putting just more tools in my toolbox is all it is. To explain one thing, I should probably have 30 to 40 different ways to say it if I want to be effective, right? And then also it gives me opportunity just to see them and how they interact with them, not just what they say, but how they physically interact with people too. That's important. Because being able to read the people, like, especially when we have those small booths, right? And some people don't like you being up in their space, because us as a society, we don't like people being in our space typically.
Yeah.
And so you have to earn that respect from them, and you have to earn that okay by them to say, yeah, you can come over here and help me, type of thing. And you have to also be able to read people's body language of saying, hey, I need to back off, you know, and that takes time. And it's really what it is. It's time. And it's not a set amount of time, like 3 hours, 4 hours. It's at bats is what I'm going to call it. It's like, how many times at bat have you had the opportunity to sit there and watch the permit class, or the master pistol series, or beyond the permit series, or whatever, marksmanship, or whatever you're doing, right? It's at bats. You need time just perfecting your craft and honing that craft is what it really comes down to.
Folks, I want to give a very special thank you to Top Gun Shooting Range here in Memphis, Tennessee. This is where I teach personally. You can shoot our fully automatic machine guns in a safe and controlled environment. We also have a barbecue restaurant right here in the building. Ferguson's Barbecue has 4.7 stars on Google reviews, And also, it's the only public range in the Mid-South that allows you to draw from the holster. And personally, I believe that that's the best way for you to practice for handgun self-defense. Folks, I do not shill for anybody. I promote the causes that I believe in. And I believe in Top Gun Memphis. Come by and see us.